Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about American entertainment big moves. All right, so what's happening in American entertainment? Well, there's a few things that are happening. First of all, in the last few weeks, there's been a dust up between AMC theaters and Regal theaters together, kind of agreeing on one thing, which is that they're going against Universal Studios. Universal Studios had a huge success with Trolls World Tour with PVOD, Premium Video on Demand. And they had so much success, $100 million in success for a movie that was never released in theaters, that essentially they said, hey, we are going to specifically now do this thing where we are going to make it so that so that our movies go to premium video on demand at the same time they go to uh, theaters. And AMC and Regal are like, hey, we're supposed to be partners in this industry, and you're cutting us off at the knees. And so AMC threatened to no longer show Universal movies in their theaters. So this would mean no Fast and Furious 9, no Jurassic Park, the next installment, none of it, right? So, and this is huge, and Regal kind of backed up AMC on this, and they're like, hey, we're partners in this industry, and you're really jamming us against a wall here, and so there's a real big dust up, right? And so right now, with coronavirus, absolutely still just dominating headlines and becoming really the transformative moment of this millennium, right? And honestly, of course, I remember 9/11. I remember what happened on 9/11. But the reality is, I really think 9/11 has become a footnote to what's happening with coronavirus. It really isn't even the largest event of this century or this millennia, and it's massive. The absolute ramifications of coronavirus. Right now, of course, all respect to everyone who was who lost people in 9/11 and were affected by that. But coronavirus, the impact is just so much more widespread. Truly incredible. All right, so what else is happening right now? Well, there is speculation within the markets about big moves in American entertainment. All right, and these moves, there's two of them specifically, and I want to talk about them today from the perspective of politics. I want to talk about them from the red and the blue, the Democrats and the Republicans, what they would mean for America as a whole, and what they would mean for each of the parties, and which way I think the parties will go, and which way I think the parties should go. So let's talk it through. All right. So first and foremost, there's a possibility that Apple could buy Disney. Right? Apple has not announced this, but it's being talked about within the markets, and people who track stocks and all kinds of things like this are paying close attention. And the reason why is if there was going to be a company that could buy Disney, Apple would have the cash. Apple is known as a company that has a lot of cash on hand, and honestly, it just makes sense, right? So Apple struggles to make even one decent show, but they have tons and tons of cash. Disney, they can't, like, they trip and make an awesome show. They make awesome shows by accident, but they have no money. They're super in debt, right? And so a lot of analysts are looking at this and saying this is a match made in heaven, and it's really quite interesting, right? All right, the next big possibility is Netflix buying Viacom or Paramount. Netflix is huge; they're doing great, but they are in the same boat. They have got to get, if they don't have good content all the time, they die. Period. Netflix is very much like Galactus from Marvel. Excuse me. Galactus eats planets. He just like, it floats through the universe. He's actually a Marvel villain, and he just eats planets, right? And Netflix is the same way. It's a huge behemoth, and if they don't have a steady flow of content, they're in serious trouble. And frankly, they are having a hard time getting content. And the reason why is they used to be the only player in the streaming game, and that is not the case anymore. Apple has some crusty shows that I don't know who's watching them. And then who else has streaming networks? Paramount has a stream network that nobody's watching. DC and Warner Brothers have some stuff. Again, almost nobody there. HBO is saying, okay, you've always paid us money, but now we're going to make another tier called HBO Max, which is a bunch of shows you're not going to get with your HBO subscription. Which you're like, what? Like, so it's a mess. It is a hot mess out there. And Netflix is thinking about buying Viacom and Paramount, and this would give them literally dozens of intellectual properties, like probably 100 seasons plus on the small screen, probably 500, 1,000 movies on the big screen. This would be huge for them. And also, Viacom and Paramount makes movies, so Netflix would have its own studio. Viacom's been in the entertainment. These are huge companies. These are massive moves that are being discussed that could happen in the near future. So what does this mean for the Democrat Party? And what does this mean for the Republican, for the Democrat Party and for the Republican Party, right? So let's talk it through. So which one of these deals would be interesting and good for the Democrats? Which one would the Democrats want to see happen? Here you go. Apple buys Disney. That would very much be a Democrat deal. Why? Well, Disney is incredibly left, right? Their politics are really, really left. They make movies and television shows that look right, but are not made by anyone on the right. And really, their shows kind of masquerade as like right-leaning material, like conservative, mom and apple pie stuff, but the reality is it's incredibly left, right? And guess what? Apple is, if you could find a company that was more left than Disney, Apple would be it. Apple is, very, very on the left side. And so the Democrats, I think, would love to see this deal happen, right? Because they're going to get Disney more left than it already is, which I'm like, I don't even know how you would possibly even accomplish that, but these three words would do it. If Apple bought Disney would go even more left than it already is, which that'd be, boy, it's hard to even imagine that could happen. Okay. The Netflix buys Viacom Paramount, that is definitely a Republican move, right? That is a deal the Republicans would want to see made. Why would the Republicans care about Netflix buying Viacom Paramount? Well, I think they would definitely want an either or here, right? Whenever Disney is not great for the Republican Party, and the reason why is there's a lot of messaging that goes to Republican families that come straight from Disney, because Republican families are human beings and they want to be entertained, and no one on the planet entertains like Disney, right? So their kids want to watch Disney and they want to see Disney content, and they end up watching Disney content because they want to be entertained, right? Now, if you need your taxes done, or if you need to know how to floss, Republicans are going to be able to help you with that, right? But if you need to create small screen content or big screen content, nobody aligned with the right can do this. No one. And the reason why is Republican families, here's a typical, I would say this is a macro level conversation between Republican parents and Republican and their children who are yet to be named in the party, right? Kid says, hey, I want to go to Hollywood and become a director. Big frowns from the Republican family, right? But if they say, hey, I want to be an accountant, everybody's smiling, right? So, but if you go with the Democrats and flip that entire thing, the smiles and the frowns are reversed, right? So basically, the reason the Republicans would want to see the Netflix buy Viacom Paramount deal happen more than they would want to see Apple buy Disney is the Republicans don't win. The Republicans don't win by Republicans do not win by defeating the Democrats. Change is going to happen. Republicans win when they kick that change down the road by 5, 10, 20 years, right? They're conservatives. They conserve. They preserve, right? They make sure change doesn't happen, right? And Democrats, and the reality is, if you see a deal like Apple buying Disney, the Democrats would love that. And the reason why is that is going to be a huge cultural change. Disney has reshaped American society in a lot of ways that are very left-leaning, right? And with Apple, that's going to be even more compounded, right? But the Netflix buys Viacom Paramount. Netflix is much more in the center than they are left. They are more than willing to put on content that infuriates the left, right? They do it a lot. Frankly, I think Tiger King was very right wing leaning, I think, and so Netflix is not a right wing company, but by not being a super left company, that actually helps the Republicans, right? So, and that's why they would be very, very interested in that. So overall, basically, when we're looking at this, I think the Republicans would very much like to see Netflix for the good of the country. I think the Republicans would like to see Netflix buy Viacom Paramount. They would like to not see Apple buy Disney. I think the Democrats would love to see Apple buy Disney, and I think they realize that Netflix buying Viacom and Paramount would really not help the left as far as their cultural message being spread. So, what do I think is best for the country? Well, honestly, I'm not too opposed to either one of these deals getting done. I am actually shocked to hear that that there is talk that Apple could buy Disney. And the reason why is I've never saw Apple in that vein. So one of the things that shocks me is, I work hard and I make a pretty good living, and I have never felt that I had the money to turn our family into an Apple family, not once. And the reason why is when I would, I'm a tech guy, right? So I would go look at Apple phones and Apple computers, and the money was always the same, right? I was like, okay, I can buy this Apple computer for myself, or I can buy a computer for myself and a computer for my wife and another computer for my daughter, right? Like, so I think Apple products are really amazing. I think, frankly, they're the best tech there is, but they're not the best value as I saw it. So, so I think I'm just shocked that Apple is in a position to buy Disney. Just that kind of the way to explain what this would be like if someone told you that Dairy Queen was going to buy McDonald's, right? It's just shocking, right? So I'm not really opposed to it in any way. It just shocks me that we've arrived at this position, and it really shows you how careful you need to be as a company about debt, right? Because one of the reasons why Disney is in trouble right now is just debt. I think they had a lot of debt on their books, and and Apple has a lot of cash, right? So this is it's tough. It's a really tough situation, right? I think overall, I would like to see Netflix acquire Viacom Paramount. One of the reasons why is Paramount was in the mix for the Dungeons and Dragons movie, and I would really love to see the Dungeons and Dragons movie get made. And I think if Netflix bought them, there would be a very distinct possibility of the Dungeons and Dragons movie being made. And I would really love to see the Republican Party help with that. Now, also, how can the parties affect these deals, right? Well, first of all, I'm not talking about any kind of thumb on the scale, any type of crime or anything like that. But there are real people in the Senate and in the House, and they can fast track or slow track these things just by getting excited and talking to the right people. If the right meetings happen in the right rooms, no money needs to be exchanged or anything like this. We have a Congress and a House, and when there are deals this large on the table, they have to go before the government, right? And so both the Republicans and the Democrats, for the Apple buys Disney possibility or for the Netflix buys Viacom possibility, they have things they can do that are completely within the law and simply political momentum, political influence, right? Which is part of our process, fully part of our process that they could do to fast track or slow track each one of these. In my opinion, I think what's best for America would be for the Netflix, Viacom, Paramount deal to go through. I fully understand that the Democrats would never support that. I definitely see why the Republicans would support that. And I think personally, that's the better one. And the only reason why is, again, one of the other things I was thinking too is Disney really is kind of an all families brand. And I'm absolutely, please correct me if I'm wrong, I've really never seen Apple products as an all-family brand. They really seem kind of upscale. They seem luxury brand. And the idea that a very wealthy company that makes luxury products for wealthy people would be owning Disney seems like, would be just, I'm not sure I see the value in that. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm more than willing to hear you out. Please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your opinion on this. But I think, with all these possibilities, the Republicans would be wise to back the Netflix, Viacom, Paramount purchase attempt if it manifests. Again, all of these are simply what analysts are currently talking about as possibilities, which I think are distinct possibilities. And I think it would be wise for the Republicans to begin to position themselves to aid in that one. And I fully understand if Democrats would want to aid with the Apple buys Disney, but I'm not sure. Yeah, that would hurt. That would absolutely. There's no two ways about it. It would absolutely help the Democrats to aid with that one. All that's my opinion. I'd love to hear your opinion on the topic. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.